Hello and welcome to this free PDU podcast sample. My name is Cornelius Fichtner. I am the host of the program. In the next 10 minutes or so, you are going to see a shortened version of an actual webinar taken from the PDU podcast series. The idea is to give you an idea of what our webinars are like and allow you to try them on your portable media player. That's why we give you both a high-resolution and a low-resolution version of each of our free podcast samples here. Copy them to your player and try them out. To find out more and order your full subscription to the PDU podcast, please go to pducast.com. That's pducast.com. And now, here's your sample webinar. Welcome back to Effective Meetings for Project Managers. This is part 2. My name is Cornelius Fichtner, and here is your presenter, Steve Kay, with the third question that your CEO is going to ask.
So you have just explained to the CEO how this meeting is going to make money for the business. That's the why you're holding it. The CEO is becoming more impressed, and so now the CEO asks you the third question, which is, okay, how are you going to do this? This is your plan. This is the project plan for your meeting. Step 4 is then write the agenda. Design the plan.
Okay. Are there any topics that you would recommend that we should include into a written agenda every single time? Like we've defined a goal, we've defined a purpose. Should a review of these two items be at the beginning of the agenda just to bring everybody together? Or are there any other items that you'd say these got to be on?
Yes, an agenda should contain some very specific things. Although let's go to a very global concept. You're writing this agenda, of course, for yourself, because this is your map, this is your plan for conducting the meeting. You're also preparing this agenda so it can be used as a tool by the participants to maximize their effective participation in your meeting. The more effectively they participate in your meeting, the shorter the meeting, the better the results, and the more likely it will be that everybody actually implements the action items that come out of the end of the meeting. So, what do you put in it? At the beginning, you would put the goal for the meeting. This tells people what you're planning to do. You would then tell them why you're doing this. And this can be one simple, short statement. It might be a sentence that explains why you're holding the meeting. If appropriate, you may attach as an appendix any background information. You may attach things such as assignments, things to read, things to bring, things to do, things to prepare for, data to collect, and so on, so that when people come to your meeting, they are fully prepared to work effectively on your goal. In the absence of this, people come to the meeting unprepared, sometimes surprised, and then they spend your time preparing for your meeting during your meeting. This wastes everybody's time. Expanding on the answer to that last question, an agenda certainly should also describe the process that will be used in the meeting. This is like your project plan for the meeting. What are the steps that you'll take? And to the extent possible, you might even describe people's roles in the meeting. And this can be very simple. For example, if it's a project review meeting, a recurring meeting, then the process may simply be a schedule for the different presentations that will be given in the meeting, perhaps with some question time, some discussion time between the presentations. So you notice it can be quite simple. It's important, though, that this be specified so that people know what to expect. It also would include a time budget. And this is your estimated times for the time that will be spent for each task in the meeting. This is useful because it gives people an expectation of how long they'll be spending on different elements of the meeting. Some people approach meetings as if they had infinite time. Well, there's no such thing as infinite time. Time is a precious resource. When people know that there's only so much time budgeted for a particular task, then they work toward it. And that helps them marshal their contributions and their participation in working toward it.
And how do you feel about timekeeping, and what do you do if, say, you've got 15 minutes allocated to something and notice during the meeting 15 minutes is not going to be way not enough, it's going to be half an hour? What do you do now?
Sure. Well, recognize we live in a real world. Okay?
Things never go as planned.
Plans, we have to have a plan so that we at least have a direction for proceeding. And of course, we recognize that plans are constantly being revised in the moment. So there are always surprises. Two things. First of all, I would ask somebody to help as a timekeeper. So I would find some participant who can help as a timekeeper just to keep track of how time is going. If you, the person running the meeting, attempt to do this, you're loading yourself up with tasks, and every task you take on removes your ability to effectively manage the meeting. So the more you can delegate, the better.
Mm-hmm.
If you have someone who's working as a timekeeper, that person can then alert and say, we've spent 10 minutes on this. We budgeted 15. Are we making progress so that we'll be done in 5 more minutes? And this, again, serves to alert everybody. It also helps you make adjustments if necessary. And you can then poll the group. How are we doing? Do you think we can finish this in 5 minutes? The response may be, for example, no, we need an extra 10. Okay, that means you need to adjust your agenda on the spot. And so now it's important to check with the group and say, well, it looks like we need more time than I had planned. Is it all right if we take an extra 10 minutes on this?
You know, I've never been in a meeting where this was done. In every single meeting that I've ever attended, I think, yeah, there was an agenda, there was a time budget for each agenda item, but nobody ever looked at it. Nobody kept track of it, and it was just nilly-willy.
Think backwards. Is this the type of leadership that you would want to participate in? And you notice there's some elements of what I'm doing. I am alerting people about the realities. I am including them in identifying the solutions, and I'm gaining buy-in on the solution in real time as I'm moving through this. When I do this, the net result is a far more effective meeting. We make more purposeful progress. We have more buy-in. We have more agreement. We just in total have a far better meeting. Without it, people are on a ride in the dark. They have no idea what's going on. They feel out of control. And when people feel like that, when they feel out of control, then they begin to act strange. And when they act strange, they begin to misbehave, and the meeting deteriorates. And the third bullet says that an agenda should be sent before the meeting. This is critical. Now, I realize there can be exceptions. You may have an emergency where you must call a meeting immediately. However, if at all possible, the agenda should be sent at least a day before the meeting. And this is important because it allows people time to understand the agenda and then manage their participation so they come prepared to work with you toward your goal.
Yeah, how formal should an agenda be? I mean, do you have any recommendations as to when you send out just, a bullet list in an email? These are the things we want to talk about, versus you create an actual Word document, nicely formatted, and you have a real formal agenda?
A good question. The complexity, the completeness of an agenda will depend upon the goal for the meeting and the scale of the meeting. It's almost as if I were to say, we need a vehicle. Well, what's a vehicle? It can be anything from a skateboard, a bicycle with 2 wheels,
yes.
yeah, or a bicycle that has 2 wheels and it's self-propelled. It could also be a massive semi-truck which can carry tons of materials across country, has a monstrous engine, has sleeping quarters. So it really depends upon what are you doing.
All right, so the answer is, as always, it depends.
It depends.
Look at what the purpose is of your meeting, the formality of your meeting itself, and then decide whether it's sufficient to just send out an email with a few bullet points, or whether you have to send out an actual agenda in a nice document.
Yes. Recall earlier, I described a meeting that had no structure, no agenda, no goal. All I simply did was call a few folks and say, the department is buying lunch for you. So they came to lunch, and they ate, and they had a good conversation that helped the project.
And that's it for your free PDU podcast sample. Please stop by at pducast.com, that's pducast.com, to order your full subscription to the PDU podcast and start earning at least one PDU every month. Until next time.